When you're on a cancer journey, or know someone who is, there's this one word that means everything: remission. It's just loaded with hope. But, it also brings up a ton of questions. What does it really mean? Does it mean the fight is over? All right, let's unpack this and get some real clarity.
And this, right here, is the biggest question of all. It's the one at the heart of so much hope, but also so much anxiety. The second a doctor says remission, your brain immediately wants to hear cured. But are they actually the same thing? Well, the answer isn't a simple yes or no. And really understanding that difference is so important.
So, first things first, let's build a solid foundation. From a medical perspective, what are we actually talking about when we say remission?
Okay, notice the really key phrase in there: lessen or go away. Remission means the cancer is responding to treatment. Its activity has significantly quieted down. But, and this is the crucial part, the definition doesn't say it's gone for good. It's a massive positive turning point, no doubt about it, but it isn't always the final destination.
And this is where that distinction becomes totally clear. You could almost think of remission like a ceasefire in a war. The obvious signs of conflict have retreated, but there might still be some hidden cancer cells lying low. A cure? That's totally different. That's the end of the war. Every single cancer cell is gone, and they are not expected to come back.
Now let's dig a little deeper, because doctors don't just say remission and leave it at that. The term itself is actually broken down into two very distinct types. So, the one you're really hoping for is complete remission. That's when every test, every scan, every exam comes back showing zero evidence of cancer. But partial remission is also a huge win. It means the treatment is absolutely working, the tumor has gotten smaller, and it's not growing.
So how much smaller are we talking about? Well, this number is the key. For doctors to officially declare a partial remission, all the tests need to show that the tumor has shrunk by at least half. That's a real, measurable sign that the treatment is winning the fight.
And this right here brings us back to that core idea. Even with complete remission, when everything looks clear on the scans, it's just not a 100% guarantee. There could still be tiny, microscopic cells that are just too small to detect. And that's exactly why ongoing monitoring is so incredibly crucial. The journey continues.
So, what does that continuing journey actually look like? Well, reaching remission isn't about sitting back and waiting. It's a really active phase of care, and it comes with a clear strategy.
Think of this as a proactive defense plan. It often starts with what's called maintenance therapy, which could be ongoing, lower-dose treatments designed to keep any stray cells in check. You combine that with regular monitoring like blood work and scans, which basically creates a surveillance system. And both of these things are designed for one critical goal: early detection. Because catching a recurrence the second it happens is the key to jumping on it effectively.
This is a really tough question, but it's one we have to ask. As much as everyone hopes for it, remission just isn't achievable for every single person or for every type of cancer. There are a few big factors that play a huge role here. The stage of the cancer is a major one. Earlier stage cancers are just more likely to go into remission. The specific type of cancer matters a lot too. There are over 100 kinds, and they all behave differently. And finally, the aggressiveness of the cancer, how fast it grows, can make getting into remission and staying there a lot more challenging.
Okay, so beyond all the clinical definitions and the medical plans, there's a really profound human side to all of this. Living in remission means learning to navigate a very complex emotional world.
Wow, that phrase, emotional roller coaster, is just spot on, isn't it? Remission brings this incredible feeling of joy and relief, but it's almost always shadowed by this fear that it could come back. It's really about learning to hold two completely opposite feelings at the same time, feeling grateful for today while also feeling anxious about tomorrow. So, how do you even begin to manage that roller coaster? Well, the best strategy is to focus on what you can control. That means having really open conversations with your oncologist, building healthy habits with food and exercise, and leaning on your support system, whether that's a formal survivorship program or just sharing what your new normal feels like with the people you love.
Okay, finally, let's talk about the question that's probably been in the back of your mind this whole time. What happens if the cancer does come back? It's the biggest fear for so many, but it's one that can be faced with facts and, believe it or not, with a real sense of hope.
It's a question that can just feel so deeply unfair. If the treatment worked so well, why on earth would the cancer return? The reason is purely biological. It is never a failure of the patient or even the treatment.
And here's the scientific reality of it. The treatments we have can be incredibly powerful, but they might miss a few microscopic cancer cells that are just too small for any scan to possibly pick up. And over time, those few cells can begin to multiply and eventually grow large enough to be detected again.
And this, right here, might be the most critical takeaway of all. A recurrence is not the end of the story. It's a setback, for sure, but it is often treatable. Doctors can use new treatments, or even existing ones, to fight the cancer all over again, with the same goal, getting back into remission. It really shifts the whole perspective from a single, all-or-nothing battle to more of a long-term manageable condition.
I think this quote from the Cleveland Clinic just sums it all up perfectly. It's honest about the reality. It's not a cure, at least not yet, but it powerfully reminds us that getting to remission is a huge victory. It is absolutely a moment to celebrate, a major, hard-won milestone on a very, very difficult journey. So maybe the best way to think about remission isn't as the end of the road, but as a really profound shift in the path you're on. It's about learning to live with a new kind of uncertainty, celebrating every single victory along the way, and understanding that for so many people, this truly is a journey, and not always a final destination.